wanted to take a little bit of time here because I was going to do a skip, but decided to actually do some shouting out of our fellow Rangers up on Patreon who help support the channel, which we have Al, Chris, Cody, and Matt. Especially Matt. Matt's been on here for freaking ever. It truly means a lot to us. And if you guys would also like to help support, we do $15 prints once a month, and we're also starting to do new content as well with showing some of my more craftsy stuff like cosplays and dioramas over there. Plus some other stuff that we do up over on the Geek Chest is also down there as well. And also briefly, Al also has his own YouTube channel, Super Ghidorah. If you guys want to go check that out, also link in the description as well. Greatly would appreciate that too. So again, definitely appreciate you guys helping up over on Patreon. You guys help make this channel possible. And now, onto the video. Hey Rangers, welcome to Super Report Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going over the Bandai Tamashii Nation Solo Chogokin Gipsy Danger from Pacific Rim. This is number GX-77 in the line, which is a figure that I've had for quite some time now, but just now finally getting around to doing the review because I really wanted to actually get to know more about the figure before I got into it with its articulation, accessories, and what have you. And I just haven't really had the time to mess around with them till recently. With all the other releases, conventions, G-Fest, it's just life in general just kind of made it hard to get this guy's video out. But now that I got some spare time, I'm gonna sit down, do this guy properly. And I have to say, when this guy first came out, he was easily the figure I was most excited about this year. Just because of the name Solo Chogokin, those figures are usually fantastic outside of their Evangelion ones that I have. Big O and some of the other ones are really cool. Then they also have a Gigantor coming out at the end of the year. Pretty excited about that too. But anyways, with Pacific Rim being one of my favorite giant monster movies and them tackling the mechs in a much larger scale than what we're used to with a more standard action figure size, just really felt the need to pick this up. And hopefully it's a good enough figure to merit picking up more in the line, because the next one we're getting is Crimson Typhoon is the next one. So hopefully this figure stands up to the standards of his, it was about $220, I think, when he first came out, which seems like a lot. So hopefully there's enough here to really merit that price tag. But anyways, without further ado, for the packaging, on the front here, you just get a nice image of the figure inside of the package. But you get some metallic gold here on the bottom here with the Gipsy Danger name with its logo on the back, Pacific Rim, Solo Chogokin on the top. And then on the sides of the package, just get him dragging the boat. Opposite side looks like him with his plasma cannon. Or plasma caster, I should say. And on the back, you just get him in some dynamic poses. Shows him with all he comes with, what he can do. A bunch of stuff I can't understand, and some legal mumbo jumbo with a bluefin sticker as well. Bottom, more boat. Top, him punching himself in the hand. So let's get him open up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that we got him open up out of his cardboard prison, accidentally hit his little light up feature, so he's illuminating right now. But first and foremost, we're actually going to start with his accessories. Which, straight out of the package, he comes with a pair of clench fists, a pair of open relaxed hands, and a pair of clenching hands that are going to be primarily for holding on to the freighter. Which, for the freighter, done in just normal plastic, no die cast or anything on here from what I can tell, but still detailed very nicely, where you get some matte black and matte reds on the sides. A little bit of scuffs in the paint job, which is kind of sad because I just recently got this one out of the package, because Gipsy's been out of the box, but very much all his accessories have still been sitting in there, so that's a little disappointing to see. But then again, it's a damaged ship, so it being actually this clean is still kind of weird. So you got his handprint on the bottom here of the ship, where you can see where part of the ship's actually cracking on the bottom here. Looks really cool. A little bit of extra glue there, but some detailing for the ship. You get its anchors on the front section here. A crane, I'm assuming. Some metallic gold here for the little runway on the top, with some light gray here for the cockpit section, some more black on top. That's done in more of a jet black color. There's a little bit more of a shine to it on the top section. But a lot of very nice intricate details. Even got some like portholes on the top section here as well. And where the chains are stored for the anchors are on the top section here as well, which could maybe have been painted. But outside of that, like, it's still a really nice looking ship, and for the most part, just being essentially a melee accessory, still looks really nice. And then, haven't actually tried this yet, but it looks like it kind of hooked there, because this is where like the thumbs would be, right? So thumb would go there, hand would grip around, like so. All right, better. He's holding on to it a little bit better now. Still not the greatest, so I'd be a little careful. But holding it upright, like so, you just kind of bring this in with the thumb and just rotate it into the hand. Pretty simple to do. You could also have him holding it in this hand, doing the same thing but on the lower section. And then if you want to have him dragging the ship, you rotate it in and hold it on the bottom. And then you can sort of drag it now, which is really cool. I like that the way the finger imprints are on the side coincide with how you want to have him actually holding it. So it doesn't look weird when he's just randomly crunching his hands around it. It actually makes sense, which is something that's really impressive with this little accessory. And then quickly for the hands, how you want to swap them out is you're going to make sure the arm is straight. This is mainly because of the way the arms are set up to actually pop out. It's easier to do when it's straight, because as you can see, it wants to slide out right now. Like so, which is for his other accessory. So the easiest way I do this is I kind of just straighten it up, grab it at base of the forearm, just like you want to with your pretty much any other figure. Just pull it straight out, grab which other accessory you want to swap it out with, and then just pop it back in. Pretty simple to do. Then next you get the chain blades, which you get a pair of open chain blades, which these are going to mainly be for him with his arms posed down, kind of like they're getting ready to engage anyways, which is really cool to see. Something that I can see not necessarily needing to come with this figure, but still cool that it's an option. Although I kind of wish they were flexible. Or maybe have like a little bendy wire in it so you kind of have them flopping around. That would have been pretty sweet. But paint job's done in metallic gunmetal, detailed very nicely. Not too much else to really say because there's no real color variety, just a lot of really nice indentations in the mold. And then it also comes with a pair of engaged chain blades for slicing up kaijus, whatever you need, maybe to make some sushi, I don't know. But still detailed very nicely. You can kind of tell where the locks are connecting in for the blades. Look very nice. Exact same paint job with a metallic gunmetal. And how you get these into Gipsy Danger. And briefly, I'll show you guys how to do the rocket fist too, which both arms can do the rocket fist. It's mostly the same thing. Actually, I'll just show you guys the rocket fist first because you kind of gotta set it up partially anyways to do it. Now, I'm gonna say some of this isn't the easiest to do because I try to straighten it, but it's still a bit of a pain to do it. But as you can see, there's a joint inside of the forearm here that can stretch. So you want to stretch that out, move the armor plating outwards, which they're on a hinge. So you just swing them forward. Pretty easy to do. You just have them pop out a little bit. They can also swivel a little bit forward and back. But you just bring those out a little bit, extend the arm outward. You can see here, actually, you know what? I'm just going to pop the forearm off to make it a little easier. And we'll just push it back in. But grabbing back here, you can stretch it in and out. But you want to pull it out for doing the rocket fist. And then, for the bottom section, which you don't use for the chain blade, but rocket fist you do, this is also on a hinge. And you just bring that upwards. And then this part back here, well, it got upside down. This part right here, what you do is you just push that down, and that's where your rockets would be. So once it's fully engaged, this is essentially how it should look for you. So when fully engaged, should look like this for his rocket fist, which is still really cool little added detailing. I almost kind of would have expected them to maybe just gave us an extra little arm, kind of like what they did with the plasma caster. But it makes sense because then when you want to engage it, you actually have to do it yourself, which kind of makes it feel a little bit more authentic than just swapping out an accessory. So I personally really like this little added touch. The only thing that's kind of annoying about it is because this is all its own little separate sections, when articulating and moving parts around, sometimes they like to shift, and it's just a little bit more finessing. than what you would normally get with, say, a just solid arm piece. But still really sweet. For the sword, all you do, you wouldn't extend that out, you wouldn't push down the thruster pack, and then this bottom section would stay out. But these two, you're going to want to out and actually just kind of fray them out a little bit. And we'll show you guys how each of these look. But I do believe that's the top section, so we're going to go with that. There's a little peg hole for the chain blade to go into. You just push that in, and then put your forearm around the blade, and then bam! Got ourselves a chain blade. Cutting all the otachis all the time. Now, if you want to use see how the other one looks. Same thing, just pull these out, fray it out a little bit. Grab our wiggle blade, stick it into the peg hole, and then just clamp the armor plating around it. Didn't line up as much as I like to. There we go. Looks a little better. So mainly, like, this is the one I primarily would use for accessories if I'm going to use the sword anyways. But still, really sweet that they gave us this other one as well. And then finally we have the plasma casters. And then I'll go over the light up feature. Which for the casters, how you get those on, and you actually get a pair, is you'll see here, you can just slide the arm off. Which you'll notice right here, there's just a little slot for this to hook into. When you want to put it back on, you just... Actually, can I pull that out a little bit just to... Alright, we're going to use the little arm articulation as a little helper. But you guys can see how it goes in and out. And then when you're articulating it, it kind of keeps it locked into place. It can still slide out, but it more or less stays in there pretty nicely though. But real quick, for the details for the plasma caster, look fan-freaking-tastic, just like pretty much the rest of the robot. You get the metallic blue here for the armor plating with some kind of like gunmetal on some of the sections there with some reds, some blacks. Looks great, some white pinstriping. On the inside you get a nice metallic black with some wiring tubes sticking out here and there. Looks great. Now, the only thing that's kind of frustrating, figuring out which one of these things, because you have to pop this off and this off in order to get the battery. It's standing on your shelf, it's not going to fall off. Same with this. But the more you mess around with it with these attachments in, the more likely this is going to pop out, because just a little bit of pressure pops this thing out pretty easily. But how you turn on the lights is down here where the rocket punch was. You just pull this out, turns on the plasma caster light. And how you install this onto Gipsy Danger is just slide it back into the arm joint. Pretty simple to do. Thing is with this, you lose the double elbow joint, which isn't a big deal because for the most part it wasn't posing much anyways, but turned off the light. There you go. Now you guys, plasma caster fully engaged. Pop in the other one real quick, which is the exact same details, but it's just kind of swapped around. And again, these kind of pop off pretty easily. Then crank this light on. But the lights you will have to install. It does come with all the batteries that you need in order to get these things going anyways, which is really nice. And then also for the back section here, this actually has to get installed too. Where did that go? Alright, it was by my feet. Stupid little ball joint. But you will have to attach these, which this is on a ball joint. I think this is on a ball joint. God bless it, too. Nope, on a peg right there. But just slides back and forth. Pretty easy. And the nice thing, too, is that this is articulated, too, to kind of help move things out of the way. I'm just going to sit that down there. But you will have to put these on, which this is slides in and out. Do be careful, though, because that is pretty easy to break. And then this piece back here just kind of pops off. I think. It's not wanting to do it. But as you can see, you got the peg up here, peg down here. You just slot it in, push it in, good to go. But you guys can see the battery pack down here. And this pieces like to pop off too when you're messing around with them. And what's great about this too is that it kind of helps with your arm articulation too, to help when you're trying to rotate and stuff. So it's just easier to get more things out of the way. And as I said before, moving the stuff around tends to pop some other stuff. So it's kind of, you want to set this, get everything set up, and you're good to go with at least this accessory anyways. But now that we have these in, I'll get it fully assembled real quick. But how you turn on the lights is you just push on the center section here. My dog is snoring in the background. But what's cool is you can see that the lights are changing. And then you also get the illumination on the top here. I'll actually try out the lights real quick just so you guys can get a better look at it. Well, at least one of the lights, because I don't have two. Well, yeah, you guys can kind of see. There you go. Lights up pretty darn nice if I do say so myself. But popping one of the lights back on just so you guys can see the eerie glow. Overall, the LED features actually work really nicely on this. I kind of wish there was maybe a little bit more. Because you have the lights right here on the top section of the chest, the eyes, and the reactor here. I kind of wish they would have maybe incorporated a little bit more lights here and there. Because even how this is set up is it's just a reflective piece of metal and the translucent plastic here to shoot the lights. They could have maybe added some at the top here. Just some translucent plastic here, just drill a little hole. That would have been sweet. Same with like on the top section here. And just gave it a little bit more light up features for the top of the head. Maybe if I grabbed another one of these, I'd be more inclined to do one myself, but I really don't want to damage this dude. Alright, got everything hooked back up. Again, looks fan-freaking-tastic and easily. I might actually change my mind and have it display like this. I had it with this, the chain blades, but this is pretty freaking sweet looking. Also want to mention real quick that when you push the button, it's just going to stay illuminated for a certain amount of time. I've never actually measured how much time. It does turn itself off eventually though. So that's actually really nice. It's not something like, if I want to show it off, and there you go, it just shut itself off. But if you want to show it off, you just have to push the button, it'll do the light ups. Sweet! And then you kind of just walk away from it and it'll just shut itself off. So it's really cool little display piece to show off the friends and stuff without having to actually take it off the shelf. Now for a couple other accessories, it has this little tool here. Haven't actually ever used it, but it does come with it nonetheless. But this is mainly to help you get your batteries in and out if you need it. Once I put the batteries in, I haven't really had the opportunity anyways to have to take them out, but this is essentially what you'd use to pop them out. Then finally comes with this fancy little display that says Solo Chogokin Gipsy Danger on the front, and overall nothing too complicated, just little landing pad. Got some arrows for what appears to be a runway, absolutely nothing on the bottom. One thing that kind of sucks is I wish there was a way to actually store the weapons on here, maybe having like the sword stick up the back or something, or place to put the arms. Kind of what they did with the big O display stand. Like that would have been sweet, or maybe even have it look more appropriate for the docking bay that you seen in Hong Kong where this guy was stored at. Oh, that would be pretty sweet, but still a decent little stand. What happens is his crotch sits in here, so you just pick him up, line it up. I like to spread his legs a bit. And as you can see, holds Gipsy Danger in there very nicely. And overall, it's a really nice little display stand. Again, kind of wish you could maybe put stuff on it. Would have been nice. But it still helps if you want to do stuff with your Gipsy Danger poses anyways. Like if you want to have them running towards kaijus, stuff like that, or just be a little bit more dynamic. Like, it still holds them pretty nicely in there. And to be honest, it's going to be what I use to display them with, because I usually don't like using stands if I can help it, because to me it always kind of takes away from the realism of the figures anyways. But something like this still works really well for me, because it just kind of makes it look like he's standing on a docking bay anyways, and the black rod kind of actually hides in the shelves anyways for the most part, especially mine because they're not really the most illuminated. It's just, again, I just wish it was a little, like, I just want some, like, stuff wrapping around them. Would be cool, you know? Like, man, I just need to order one of those, like, Gundam ones, but I feel like he'd be way, way too big for that. So, maybe one of these days I gotta, like, makeshift one. one of these days. And then for a quick look at Gipsy Danger's details, head sculpt, you know what, just everything about this thing is gorgeous. I'm just gonna say it now. This is easily the best detailed Gipsy Danger we've gotten, because it just feels like impressive because all the die casts and the nice use of plastic, and just the overall heft of the figure just really makes you feel like you're handling a robot, which I haven't really gotten out of any other Gipsy, any Pacific Rim figures, to be honest. Because the only thing that really has even close to this much heft to it is the 18-inch Gipsy Danger, and that thing is freaking huge, and I hope it weighs that much. But this guy just, especially for the size, just feels impressive. You can even see her here with the gold visor on the front of his mask, which is still translucent, by the way. Looks great, because even though it doesn't have all the lighting for it, it still has all the details on the top of the head, and you even get the red strip with the white pinstripe on the top section of the head. Looks great, and you got some black here for the bottom base of the head. And then for the majority of its body, it's done in a really nice dark metallic blue with all the ports on the front section here. Same with on the top. You get the plating on the front section of the chest, which moves, by the way. Which, I know initially when I got this guy, and it was just like, you know, I'm going to mess around with the articulation a little bit. And just, once I seen that, it kind of sold me on the figure. And this isn't even the only part, to be honest. It's the rest of the chest section anyways, where you get some little like exhaust on the side section here, and some armor plating on the stomach section with some more gunmetal spread here and there. I think too that has the 4 kaiju marks on this section here. And you even get the 34 and some more detailing here on the shoulder section as well, with some red pinstriping, and even the inner workings here done in the gunmetal with some gold. These ruler marks here on the sides of the reactor, and some more reds and yellows on the front section there as well. And I even like how they have the hazard decals on the undersection of the shoulders. Same with the arms, you got some pinstriping there as well. Some gunmetals, blues, more numbering on the sides there. Also on the front, I wish it came in a little bit better, but you have that girl decal on the front, like very like World War II plane-esque in terms of the decaling on this guy. Back section, you get some more metallic golds for pretty much any of the exposed vents, with the gunmetal spinal cage coming along the back, some more tubes on the base section here, and then some more striping here on his booty, which I like too how they spent time painting the little inner gears, especially around the leg section here. And you can just tell that like no expense was spared in terms of just making everything just feel authentic, because even when you move the legs, and this one's mainly at the knees, gets these pistons working. Which again, it's just like these minor little details just really help to just add to the overall feel, and just makes it, just helps in terms of just making this guy feel like he's worth the investment. Which is saying something, because this guy costs way more than some X Pluses, and just these little things just really help to just accentuate that. Like, to be honest, this guy weighs more than most of my X Pluses that I've gotten. Even just coming down the legs here, you can just see even more of the paint and the intricate details inside of the molds, and some more decals here. And you can just tell, like, they wanted to go above and beyond to just try to get us the most accurate looking Gipsy Danger. And I feel like they did a pretty darn good job in the end in terms of the detail. And pretty much, it's really hard to really gauge which part of this is actually die-cast. Like, I can tell there's some in the feet and some in the thighs here, because you just kind of feel there's a little bit more coolness in there. Possibly, I don't really know if there's any in the arms, or maybe a little bit. But for the most part, I have a really hard time telling you exactly where the die-cast is without me sitting here and like trying to feel for everything. But you could definitely tell that a good chunk of this guy is die-cast, especially in the leg area, which is where it needs to be. Because with it having all the weight in the legs, it just helps to hold its pose very well. And it just keeps it more upright and helps with the center of gravity for the figure. And then for his articulation, his head can look a little bit to the left to the right. You can also lift it up a little bit. doesn't really help all that much. A lot of it's just the plastic in the way, gets in the way here, but it's not anything that's unusual for this kind of figure, because you can even see here, there isn't really much going on here with the joint. You can kind of wiggle it a little bit too. So a little bit of play with the head, but nothing too outstanding. I'm actually going to bring the back plates here outwards just to help with the articulation. But these are articulated. This can rotate side to side, and then these are on ball joints, so these little plates can also shift as well. If I miss some kind of special articulation, I do apologize, but I'm kind of just going to mainly just go over how it moves. I'm not going to go over every single little minute little articulation, but its arms can go out about, feels like about that far. Then inwards about that far, can rotate back and forth. But once you get the shoulder plate in, you can get it pretty decent range of motion out of there. Then has a rotation here at the bicep, double joints at the elbow, but not on the other one, which we already kind of went over that anyways. Hand can rotate all the way around, can also pivot forward and back, and has a bit of a wiggle to it as well. So a lot of motion with the hands here. Then for its chest, not a lot. You get a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of side to side, and a little bit, well, actually a decent wiggle there. Holy cow. Alright, but the core of the body, there's a little bit of motion, but nothing really too complicated here. Then for its legs, can go out about that far, about that far, inwards about that far, a little bit of a rotation, top part of the thigh, as a double joint at the knee, so a really nice bend there as well. And then for its feet, can go forward about that far, downwards about that far, toes can articulate, heel, I think, is fairly stationary, but this like little plate back here can move up and down, so you get decent amount of bend there towards the back. And for some quick comparisons, here we have the Solo Chogokin Gipsy Danger compared next to some other Gipsy Dangers in my collection, with the NECA Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger and the 18-inch tall Gipsy Danger. And here he is with some NECA Kaijus from Pacific Rim with Battle Damage Knifehead and Otachi. And here is some Gipsy Avenger figures with the Robot Spirits figure and the Diamond Select version. And here's some more high-end robot figures in my collection with the Solo Chogokin Big O and the Sentinel Shiryu. And because I had him down here doing skits with them anyways, here he is with the SH Monster Arts GMK Godzilla and the SH Monster Arts Shin Godzilla original release. So overall for the Solo Chogokin Gipsy Danger, this figure is phenomenal. The amount of detail put into this figure just blows away pretty much every other Gipsy, just Pacific Rim figure in my collection, to be honest. Beats all my NECAs, beats my Bandais, beats Diamond Select. Like, this thing is just a gorgeous piece of work, and if you guys are as much into Pacific Rim as I am and a big Gipsy Danger fan, this is the figure you kind of need for your collection. Now, one thing I will say, though, is because of his very, very hefty price tag of, I think he was like $220, $250-ish region, that's a lot of money for a figure. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Which, if you guys are just looking for a probably like pound for pound best Gipsy Danger figure to get, the Hong Kong Brawl Gipsy Danger is probably the best bang for your buck, but the biggest, like, in terms of just something with like a lot of really nice details still, would probably be the 18-inch tall versions. Are still really well done and have a lot of really nice intricate details in the mold. Not quite as much as this, but still a decent amount nonetheless. But for those, it's kind of like you gotta pick which version of Gipsy Danger you want. While with this one, you kind of get pretty much everything you want outside of battle damage versions. So again, if you guys are really into Pacific Rim, and I mean really into Pacific Rim, you can't let this guy pass you by. And especially since there's already other figures that are also, at least prototype-wise, showing off for this line. I'm really excited to keep delving into this line with these guys, especially if how good this figure is. I'm really excited to just see how good the Crimson Typhoon is going to be, because the only other one we really have are like the model kits and the NECA, and the NECA one's like, it's okay, but I feel like with the way the joints are done for the Chogokin, plus with the stand probably helping a lot with that, with the way the legs are set up as well. That's going to be a pretty sweet figure, I'd imagine, too. And I guess the final thing I'll bring up in this video, too, is this is probably now my second favorite thing in my collection. My first is still going to be my Masterpiece Optimus I got for my wedding. This is definitely a second. Like, it's pretty close. Because I love me some Optimus Prime, and especially that Masterpiece, but this thing is definitely stacked. Next would probably be in the Imperial Godzilla. That I'd have to actually think about. But anyways, have you guys picked up this solo Chogokin Gipsy Danger? What's your favorite version of Gipsy Danger? Is Gipsy Avenger just more you think? Please let us know in the comments. Look also picture of this guy on our Facebook. Go click the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon account if you guys like to help support the channel. Also down in the description. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.